Hey everyone, my name is Jordan Parham. In this multi-part series, we're going to be going through the AZ-104 Azure Administrator Labs. The really nice thing about these labs is that it covers the compute, storage, and networking, in addition to identity and monitoring. In addition, it has real-world use cases, so you can get that hands-on experience and, get more comfortable as you prepare for your exam, or if you just want these necessary skills. I'm also doing this series if you have any blockers as you're working through the labs. This will help to resolve those. So let's go ahead and go into the portal. Okay, now that I am in split screen mode, on the left I have the lab exercises, and these are on GitHub. I've provided the link to you all. And on the right we have, of course, the Azure portal, accessing it at portal.azure.com. So Lab 1 is really dealing with Azure Active Directory identities. So our scenario, we have our organization, Contoso, in this case. They want their users to authenticate by using Azure Active Directory, and we need to go ahead and provision those users and group accounts. This is going to be, these memberships are going to be based off of the user's job title. So in order to do that, we're going to use dynamic memberships. We're also going to create an additional Azure Active Directory tenant and a test user account. So at a high level, we can see the architecture diagram of what we can expect and anticipate. Starting off, we're going to be creating these Azure AD users. So we can see here we have our AD user 1 and AD user 2 with the specified job title and department. From there, we're going to be creating our new tenant that includes a user as well. We're going to be specifying our guest user. So let us go ahead and start with exercise 1. We're starting with navigating to the portal, and once we're at the portal, we want to go to Azure Active Directory. So I have this within my favorites on the left-hand side. You can also search for it. And once I go to the Azure Active Directory on the left, I'm looking for Manage and User Settings. And here we're really looking at the options that we have. So right now we have it set so users can register applications. We can choose to configure this differently if we choose to, along with registering access to Azure AD Administration Portal and our LinkedIn account connection. So that's pretty good integration, I have to say. Okay, so after we have done that, we can navigate back to users under this Manage section. And I want to click on my particular user. And here we want to change the usage location or update it to say United States. So I'm going to scroll down. Not scroll down. I want to select Edit. That is important. And then I want to scroll down. And here I have my usage location already set. But if you didn't have it set, you would select it and make sure you choose Save. We are doing this so that we can assign our premium P2 license in a moment. So I'm going to go back using these breadcrumbs within the portal, which is a great way to navigate. I often use this because it's easy to go back to, and navigate back where you were. I'm going to go back to users. I want to go to all users and select new user. And from here I am specifying the username as this AZ-104-01A-AAD user 1 for the username, along with the name, first and last name are optional fields, as we can see here. We want to create our password. Along with scrolling down and specifying the job title. And the department. I'm going to go ahead and select create. And from here, we can see we want to copy the full user principal name. So you may be thinking, where can I find that? Let me close this. I'll say okay. Once I go to the user that I've just created, I need to actually select into it as opposed to the checkbox. We can see that the full user principal name can be found here within identity along with right up here. So we want to copy this. Why? Because we're going to use it in our next step. Okay, so next it's having us go to the manage section and we want to select assigned roles. We're going to go ahead and add our assignment and we're searching for user administrator. We'll go ahead and select add. Need to refresh. Okay, so it does take some time to refresh within the portal, so just be mindful of that. So now we are on step 11, and just as a quick summary as to what we have just done, we were within this particular user here. So we were able to assign it because we are already within that user. Okay, so we can add that assignment from there. Next step, I need to open an in private window. If you're using Google Chrome, that would just be incognito. And we're going to go into the portal. So that's portal.azure.com. And this is where we want to sign in with that full user principal name. So I'm going to go back to the portal. We copied and pasted, or we copied the user principal name, and we're going to paste that when we log in. Next. Okay. And now we're going to be prompted to update that password. Hopefully those match. We'll go ahead and sign in. I'm going to skip for now, but just so that I continue on with our demo. I am going to now navigate to Azure Active Directory. I can do that right here. And I'm going to view the user settings. Again, we're reviewing the capabilities. So in our previous, in our other user, when we're logged in as that user, we saw that we had the ability to configure this. Now we don't. And we actually don't have any access in general. So let's go to users, and we're going to add a new user, and we're going to specify the name being Azure or AZ-104-01A-AAD user 2, along with the name. Specifying my initial password, and we'll change it, along with the job title, which is a sysadmin. It's important that we spell this correctly, especially as we do our dynamic memberships. And our department is IT. Going to create. Now it's telling us to sign out from this particular user. And I do want to note the reason why we were able to create this user is because previously we assigned this user, let me go back, this particular role, which was the user administrator. That's why we had those permissions. Go ahead and create. And now it's letting us know that we should sign out and close the in private browser. So I'm going to go back to my user account, and I'm going to navigate to the overview blade. By default, it takes us to this Azure Active Directory, this overview blade. And we're going to navigate to licenses under this manage section. So I'm going to choose license. And from here, I need to select this all products under manage and try or buy. From here, I need to choose this Azure Active Directory P2. Premium P2, and I can activate this. If you ever have an error when activating P2, Premium P2, you can also activate the Enterprise Mobility and Security E5 for this lab because it has that capability that we need, as we can see here. Go ahead and activate it. This may take some time. Oh, it was pretty fast. Okay, so now we're going back to the Azure Active Directory Tenant blade, and we're selecting groups under manage. From here, I'm going to create my new group and provide it the name or the type security. We also see we have the option for this Microsoft 365. The name is IT Cloud Administrators. The group description is Contoso IT Cloud Administrators. I'm going to copy this over. And the membership should be dynamic user. Okay. From here, I'm going to add a dynamic query. And this is why it was important to make sure that our job title, there weren't any typos, because if there was typos, this dynamic membership is not going to work. So I am going to add an expression. Well, before I do so, I want to choose this property and say job title and the operator as equal. And the value is Cloud Administrator. I want to add expression and go ahead and save. Now that we are on this new group, we have specified our dynamic query. I can go ahead and create. I'm going to be creating another group as well. Same process. New group. This will be a security group. The name is IT System Administrators. The description is Contoso IT System Administrators. So let me just copy that over. And the membership is going to be dynamic user. We want to add our dynamic query. And this is where we will search for job title, set it equal to system administrator. Searching for job title, searching for equal, and the value, which is system administrator. Cool, we'll add our expression and we need to save. From here, we're going to go ahead and create. We'll be creating our final group. And notice here it's not showing up. We just need to refresh it and it will update momentarily. So we can also see that our IT system admin has yet to be updated, but it will just in a couple of moments. Cool. Okay, so we are in this all groups blade and we're going to create a new group very similar to how we have before, but this time the membership is going to be assigned rather than dynamic. So of course it's going to be a security group. The name is IT Lab Administrators. The description is Contoso IT Lab Administrators. The membership type is going to be assigned, and let me go ahead and select no members selected, and I'm going to choose the IT Cloud Administrator and search for it, and the IT System Administrators, both of those groups that we've created. Wonderful. Go ahead and select, and we shall create. Okay, now that we're on this all groups blade, and notice it's going to take some while for our new group to populate within the portal, so you can refresh here, but it will take some time for it to update within the portal. I'm going to click this IT Cloud Administrators group, and on the members blade, I want to make sure that our user 1 is indeed listed. So it's working as anticipated. I'm going to do the same at the IT sysadmin group. Select members. Nice. So it's working as anticipated. Within task 3, we're going to go ahead and create a new tenant. So we can do that by navigating back to our Active Directory. There we are. And I'm going to select Manage Tenant from this overview blade. Let me call this out in particular. Again, I'm on this overview blade. Not sure why I had that error previously, but it's all good now. I'm going to manage the tenant. go ahead and create a new tenant, and I'm going to call this Contoso Lab. First, we want this to be an Azure Active Directory. The name is Contoso Lab. The DNS is any DNS name. So I'm going to just say Contoso Lab. And right now our data center location is set for the United States. Oh, notice here we want to make sure that this is not a legit name or something that's being used. And it gave us this, it's going to help validate for us. And right now it's not passing that validation. So for now I'm going to just use my initials, so JP AZ-104 demo. And that should be good to go. Why does it need to be unique? Because we can see that it's making up part of this domain name. I'll go ahead and review in create and create. We need to do a quick security check. It's making sure that we are indeed not robots. And I'll go ahead and submit. Okay, we can see here that this is going to take a couple minutes. So maybe go grab, a coffee, tea, take a little stretch break, rest your eyes, and once this has completed, we will continue on to task 4. Alrighty, so we can see that our tenant creation was successful by this message here at the very top, and we can choose to go ahead and navigate to that new tenant that we created. So I'm going to do that. And from there, I'm going to, let me go ahead and log in. I'm going to select users under manage, and I'm going to create a new user. Notice here, we can tell that we're in our new tenant at the very top here. Outlined is Contoso Lab, whereas previously I was in my default directory. Also, we're in a new tab as well. Okay, so we're in this newly created tenant, and I'm creating a user called AZ-104-01B-AAD user 1. Provide the name along with a secured password. I'm going to specify the job title as System Administrator and the department as IT. Once we do that, similar to in one of the first steps, we want to copy the full user principal name. And we do that by selecting this new user that we created. And listed right here is the full user principal name. We can also see it listed here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this because we're going to use it in a following step. So now we are going to go back to our default tenant. This was where we started initially. And we're going to go to our users, and we're going to create a new guest user. Essentially, this is the same as creating our users. Notice here it's selected for inviting a user. I'm going to choose the name. Let me first go ahead and paste the email so I don't lose that paste. The name is AZ-104-01B-AAD user 1. We want the usage location as United States. And the job title as lab administrator. And department as IT. And we'll go ahead and invite. So now we are navigating back to this all users. It does it by default for us. And we want to select the groups on this new user that we created. We can add membership, and I want to add to this IT lab administrators and go ahead and select. Notice here, I cannot add memberships for the dynamic groups that I have created, so keep that in mind. I'm going to go ahead and select, and it'll take some time to populate within the portal, but I can refresh it. Okay, not yet. Maybe now. Okay, it'll take some time for it to populate within the portal. The last step is cleaning up our resources, and here it is. We can see it's populated. We're good to go. Okay, so the last step is really about cleaning up your resources, and this just ensures that as we go throughout the course, it really just ensures that you're not using any unnecessary costs. You're not incurring any unnecessary costs because this is, of course, for practice. Okay, so as a quick overview, scrolling all the way to the top. Oh, okay. So that was about 30 minutes, which is what the estimated time was. We first created our Azure Active Directory users. We gave it this particular name here. And we specified the role and job title along with department as well. Within task 2, we created those dynamic memberships and we set what we were looking for as far as fulfilling that dynamic membership. Within task 3, we created a new Azure AD tenant. We called it Contoso Lab. We needed to specify a name that was not currently in use as well, so be mindful of that. And lastly, we created that user. We created the user within our tenant, and we invited them to our default tenant. Okay, so if you made it this far in the video, I want to congratulate you on your commitment to learning this technology. I will see you in our next video. Bye. Thanks. Okay. That was kind of fun. Oh my gosh. That was actually kind of fun. Not too bad either.